Hello, manga and anime lovers. I'm Branch, and today I'm taking a look at Irina, the Vampire Cosmonaut, Episode 1. This is an anime that came out in 2022. It's actually, well, it's not too super old, but it's 2 years old as of recording this episode. I saw a clip on YouTube, and it made me really interested in the show. I don't usually watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, but this seems more science, less fiction. And it has vampires, which are a favorite staple of mine in stories. So I figured, why not? I'll take a look and give you my thoughts. So I guess for the quick breakdown, from what I gathered from the episode, the show appears to be set place in a fictional Earth back at the beginning of the space race between Russia and the U.S. They're in different names, but they're basically Russia and the U.S. The Soviet Union, I should say. Obviously, the Soviet Union wants to get the man on the moon, or at least the man into space, quicker than the U.S. So in order to get a person in space quicker than the U.S., they find a vampire, Irina, who's the titular character, although she's not the main character. I guess they're going to try and use her to get to space quicker because she's more durable. They don't really say. I guess the main thing is that she's not a human, so human rights don't apply, which is a little bit iffy. Although there was a bit of a nice subversion toward the end of the episode that explains why they treat their test subjects like objects and not, beings with respect. Our main character is a guy called, what's his name? It's all on at least Russian inspired. So Lev is our main character. He seems to be a failed cosmonaut. They say he got into an accident or an incident happened in regarding to him, and which is why he has no chance at going to space, even though it's his dream. They don't really elaborate on it. I assume we'll get it later in a flashback. So I'm kind of interested just in seeing what happened. They also have his two friends, who I don't remember the names of. I'll remember them if they're important enough later down the line. What else? So Lev, he gets called in by the manager. I don't even know what the guy's rank is. I don't know if he's part of the military or this program, whatever. He gets called in by a higher up and gets assigned to this vampire's overseer to make sure that she's trained and ready for, I guess, the first space flight with a person in it, or something close to a person. So basically the first episode just follows him as he kind of chaperones Irina around, shows her off to his fellow students, or I don't know if students is the right word, but his fellow cosmonauts in training. It just explores their relationships a little bit. So the highlights of this episode were the theming, for one, especially the colors and the way the designs of everything. It really took you back to that Cold War era when you see all the stuff on TV and the propaganda and all that. It seems really inspired by that, and I really like it. I can't really put it too much into words since I don't know too much about that period in history, but it did strike me as really unique, especially for an anime. So I definitely wanted to mention that. Also, the camera was really interesting. I noticed that they do a lot of tricks to hide the less impressive 3D visuals, which I'll get to later. But they move the camera a whole lot, and they show a lot of different angles. And there's even a cool little, I don't know what it's called, but I want to call it a half-moon turn, a half-circle turn around the Irina in the lunch hall. They do it from both angles, I believe. It might just be a mirrored shot, but still, I thought it was pretty cool. They don't usually do things like that because I know they're pretty hard. So I guess I'll move on to the pros and cons. So what did I like and dislike about this episode? Well, I liked pretty much everything about it except for, I mentioned before, the 3D. It's really noticeable. Even though they use it a lot for the spacecraft, it's still noticeable in that when it really shouldn't be. And they use it for some of the characters too when they're in vehicles or far away, and it's pretty clunky. But then again, the camera really helps to hide that, makes the shots interesting, even if the 3D isn't very interesting. Aside from that, now that I got the stuff I didn't like out of the way, like I said, I really like the theming. The story's pretty interesting. I like this less plot-driven focus. There is a goal. The goal is to get them into space, but it seems more, I don't know, there's a tension over everything because it's in this fictional version of the Soviet Union, and we all know how wonderful they were. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. But I don't know, there's this tension everywhere, and especially between the two main characters, well, at least the main and the lesser main character, Lev and Irina, they have a bit of an interesting relationship. Lev is supposed to see her as an object, and this is one of the reveals that comes toward the end of the episode, because the episode starts with talking about the first dog that was jettisoned into a rocket in space, and then the end of the episode, says how it dies when they come across her grave. And it's revealed that the reason why they're required to treat test subjects like objects is because they can die at any time. So they don't want, I assume they don't want their men to be too emotionally compromised by getting attached to all these, either the people or the animals that are sent up into space. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting. It doesn't, it obviously doesn't absolve this organization, this government from what they're doing is pretty bad, but it does give a very human element to it, and I really like that. A lot of shows don't tend to do that. Aside from that, the characters, I like Lev enough. He seems to have ambition, at least from what we're told. We're not really shown too much to do with him. He's kind of a blank slate to build upon at the moment. But I like where he's going, and I hope he gets more time to shine. In this episode, really Irina was the star. She's, I don't want to call her a tsundere because she's not. She's just Tsun. She's just I don't want to say grumpy, but she's very just angry at people, just curt. That's the word I'm looking for. She's very curt with everybody, and nothing's mentioned, to give any reason for that, but it's kind of implied that because she's a vampire, people don't like vampires, especially in that scene in the mess hall when the one guy starts making fun of her and everyone's either scared or thinks she's weird. Typical stuff. But I don't know. They did a good job of making you understand why she's like that without having to tell you, even though I'm sure they'll go into her backstory later. The one other interesting thing with her is that she has this jewel, which I assume, if I had to take a guess, was a token of a promise or of a relationship she had with someone else, whether that's a family member or a significant other, something in the distant past. And it has something to do with her probably wanting to go into space. I'd be interested to know if she volunteered for this or if she was forced into this. I have to think she volunteered because how else would they find her? The shot of her at the beginning showed her living like someplace really remote, so I doubt they would find her. If there are other vampires, they would, the chance that she was chosen and that she's not resisting at all is very suspicious, and I really want to know more about that. I guess I'll talk about the opening and the ending. The opening, it's whatever. The song is really good, actually. It gives those, again, that Cold War ever theming in the music, and I really like that. And some of the visuals are timed really nicely to the music, but aside from that, the visuals are mostly still images with minimum movement, so not too big of a fan of that, but it works. It is what it is. It's not the best opening, but it's not bad particularly. The ending is really nice. It does have a nice movement to it, even though it's just the same shot for most of it, but I'll take it over the still images of the opening. And the song isn't super memorable, but again, it's standard ending stuff. So I guess to wind this review down real quick, I don't want to drag on too long. I want to watch the next episode. I really liked it. I really like where the story's going. I'm excited to learn more about these characters, and I really like the environment that this story is placed in. I'm not sure how to say it off the top of my head, but like the theming of everything and going to space. I really am looking forward to what happens once they get to space, or if it'll end with them going to space. So I guess I'll see any of you next time when I review episode 2, if you want to come back. Bye.